Hi there, and welcome to Her Season of Strength, where women over 40 reclaim their bodies, their energy, and their voices without apologies. I'm Kim Duffy, registered dietitian, personal trainer, mom, and your biggest hype woman when it comes to aging like you mean it. This show isn't about chasing skinny or counting wrinkles. It's about building real strength, physical, emotional, and hormonal. Each week, I'll share straight-talking nutrition tips, sustainable fitness strategies, and conversations that help you feel powerful in your skin once again. Menopause isn't an ending, it's only the beginning. This is your season of strength. Hello, and welcome back to Her Season of Strength. Thanks so much for taking just a minute to listen in. If you're listening in when this episode drops, it is August 13th of 2026. I can't believe it. We are already in August. The summer is almost over. This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorty episode because I am doing it a little bit last minute. I am still trying to play catch up from having a glorious 4 days off to go and celebrate my mom's 80th birthday in Nebraska. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you might have seen the videos. They actually kind of went viral of me surprising my mom. I first surprised her with her sister-in-law, who was also turning 80 2 days after my mom. And my mom, of course, said, I don't want a birthday. I don't want any presents. I don't want any party. I do not want any surprises. So I just had my aunt and uncle show up and just walk in the door like no big deal. And of course, my mom screams. She's kind of a screamer. And then the little Snoop, as I was at her house and I think I was making something in the kitchen, she picked up my phone and was looking at it. And I look over there. I said, what are you doing with my phone? And she says, oh, I just saw that you had pictures of my grandbaby. And she says, who's boarding? And I was flying my son and my grandson and my daughter-in-law in to surprise her. And they were flying in that night. So, of course, I had their flight there and it said boarding. I thought, what a little snoop. So I just ignored her. I did not speak to her for the rest of the evening. But the next morning, I filmed a video of the kids all walking in, and she was off in another room, and they came up behind her and surprised her. And of course, she screamed and screamed, and my little grandbaby was just looking, staring, and kind of. I'm surprised he didn't start to cry with all the commotion. But anyway, it was pretty good. If you didn't see those videos, you can jump onto my Instagram or Facebook at Strength and Nutrition LLC. They were pretty funny. I got a lot of people commenting on them. So anyway, enough of my story. Today, I want to talk about a topic that is so incredibly common for women of all ages, but I think especially for women who are, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, or above. This is so common. But let me ask you this first. So if the minute your child or grandchild says they need something, without hesitation, you give your money, your time, your energy, your love without even a second's thought. But when it's time or money spent on something for yourself, do you ever say, oh, nope, that costs too much, or I just don't have the time. Don't have the time for this. That's what I want to talk a little bit about today, which is about why as women we so easily put ourselves and our needs last, and where that pattern actually comes from, and why that quote-unquote someday is the most dangerous word in our vocabulary, whether we're talking about our health or a trip that we keep postponing or a conversation with someone that we love that we keep putting off. Before we dive into the main topic, I just want to throw out a last reminder about getting on the priority list for my 12-week group nutrition coaching program called Sustain. This is my signature program, which guides menopausal women through making small changes in their nutrition that result in big benefits like fat loss and improved energy levels. So For any women over 50 who would still like to get on my priority interest list so that they can have early access to one of the 20 open spots for this fall 2026 session, they'll also get $250 off the program's standard price and over $400 worth of early action bonuses. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. You can click on there to get onto that priority interest list. And that list is going to be closing on August 17th because I'm actually going to be opening the doors to purchase the program on the next day, on the 18th. So there is no obligation to join the program just to be on this list, but you're going to want to be on the list if this program at all interests you, if you're thinking about it. So, okay. So let's dive into today's topic. There is something called the caretaker's paradox. And I apologize if you can hear my dog barking in the background. She apparently must be seeing something out the window because she's barking. And I even have like doors closed and stuff. So really sorry if you can hear that. But anyway, so this thing called the caretaker's paradox. And what it is, it's that guilt that shows up when you spend freely on the people and the things in your care, but spending on yourself feels selfish or indulgent. Most of us were raised, especially as girls, to put others' needs first. And that's not our character flaw, it's just socialization. And it was modeled before us before we ever had a say in it. For a lot of women, being the caretaker becomes part of their identity. Spending on the people you love confirms who you are, and spending on yourself can feel like it threatens that identity. I mean, would you hesitate to buy this for your kid, your partner, your dog? And if the answer is no, but yet you hesitate to buy it for yourself, that's the paradox. Live in real life. Because we keep telling ourselves there will be time to fix that later, to put ourselves back on the list eventually. Put ourselves on the back burner right now. And I'm right there with you. I mean, when my kids were little, I know that we were budgeting. Money was tight and I never spent on myself. I remember, I was wearing clothes from 10 years before in college. But there was a point in my life that I learned firsthand that later isn't guaranteed to anyone. And I've been very open about my story of losing my 12-year-old daughter, Cecilia, to leukemia. That was 14 years ago, and that's coming up here on the 22nd of August. It'll be 14 years. But that experience taught me, about how life is short. Because before she was diagnosed, I thought, oh, my kids would all outlive me. I would get to see each one of them, get older and get married and have their own kids. And I could never have imagined that one of them would be taken from me at such a young age. But now, I don't take a day for granted. I spent 10 years also after Cecilia died working as the dietitian in a large hospital-based cancer center here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. But I worked with adults. I did not work with children. I think that would have been way too hard. But I worked with adults going through, cancer treatment, chemotherapy, radiation, surgery for all different types of cancer. And this just helped to reinforce, how short life is and how it can easily be taken away from us. It can easily be upended. The reason why, I'm bringing this in, this is the reason why I'm telling you this, is because I never want you to be sitting somewhere down the road thinking, I wish I had done something sooner. And that sentence doesn't just apply to your health. It applies to the trip you keep postponing, the skill you keep telling yourself you'll learn eventually, that hard conversation with like a sibling or a friend or family member that you keep putting off because, it feels easier not to. Health is one piece of it, and it's the piece I can help you with directly, but the real message is bigger. Stop waiting for that version of your life that only starts once everything else is settled. Because that version, it doesn't come. It never comes. Life is never going to be perfectly settled and everything's going to be great. There's always something that comes up. Think about what is the thing that you've been waiting for that right time to do. And, what would it look like to stop waiting this week in some small way? A lot of us are saying, I just can't justify spending on myself like it's a, financial fact. And frequently it isn't. It's just that caretaker's paradox that's, wearing a budget as a disguise. Because most women who say this, we're already, spending money trying to solve the same problem over and over, just inefficiently. A program here, a supplement there, a new diet or trend or fad. None of it's sticking. The money isn't really the issue, just the permission is. Let's ask the harder question. If not now, when? What one thing are you actually waiting for? Because, the guilt you feel about putting yourself first, it isn't the truth. It's just a pattern that you learned, and patterns can change. Because none of us knows how much time we have. It's not meant to scare you. It's just meant to free you from waiting for that perfect moment that was never going to come anyway. Whatever, your someday is, your health, a trip, a skill, a new class, maybe a dance class or a kickboxing class. Maybe it's a relationship you're wanting to repair. Let today be that day you stop waiting on it. So this week, I want you to pick one thing that you've been putting off, just one, and take a single step on it. Not the whole thing, just one little step. And that's how someday can become today. So if this episode, if it moved you, follow my podcast, please. I would love it if you would subscribe so that you don't miss next week. Or share it with a friend maybe who's been putting herself last because she needs to hear it too. And remember, if you want to get early access, if you want to get the lowest price off the Sustain program and, get into it before everyone else, jump onto the priority list, which I'm linking in the show notes. And remember, this is about progress over perfection. We're in this for the long haul, and this is your season of strength. Have a great day.